Are the Denver Nuggets on their way to repeat as NBA champs? After having somewhat of a rough start to the season, as of late, the Nuggets have been playing phenomenal basketball, and they currently find themselves as a #1 seed in the Western Conference. And based upon how well they've been playing as of late, as well as due to the talent they have on the roster, a lot of fans are starting to believe that the Nuggets are once again going to win a championship this season and repeat. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm JuicySports. I make opinionated NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. When you look at how the Denver Nuggets were playing over the last 4 or 5 seasons, it always seems like they were in the mix. There was a bunch of seasons where they were a top 3, top 4 seed in the Western Conference, and they had some success in the playoffs, but they were never able to make it to the finals, and of course, they were never able to win a championship. But of course, as we all know at this point, last season, the Nuggets were finally able to break through, as both Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray played some of their best basketball in the playoffs, and the Nuggets were able to win a championship. But after all the success they had last year and all the momentum they had last year, earlier on in this season, they weren't playing nearly as well as a lot of people would expect. Of course, the Nuggets were playing well enough to be in the playoffs, and they were beating a lot of the teams they should have, but at the end of the day, they were dropping a couple of games that they probably should not have, and also they were losing some games that they probably would have won in a different season. But fortunately for the Nuggets, that mediocre stretch was only a phase, as in the second half of the season, the Nuggets were playing significantly better. As both offensively and defensively, the Nuggets were playing some of their best basketball, and when you currently look at the standings, the Nuggets hold the #1 seed in the Western Conference, which is actually extremely important, because of course, whenever you talk about any team getting the #1 seed in the East or the West, that's important because they're going to have home court advantage no matter who they play until they get to the finals. But when you talk about the Denver Nuggets, and especially how well they play at home, it's going to be that much more of an advantage for Denver. But based upon how well the Nuggets have been playing as of late, a lot of people are questioning whether or not this team could legitimately repeat as NBA champs. Well, in my opinion, I definitely think the answer is yes, because when I look at championship teams, there's a couple different things that I look at, and the first thing and the most obvious thing is talent. And when you look at this Nuggets roster, it's pretty clear that they have talent and they have a lot of it. Of course, at the top of the ticket, you have both Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, who are obviously extremely talented, and not only do they play extremely well during the regular season, but they also play some of their best basketball in the playoffs. Specifically Jamal Murray, he always tends to play his best basketball when it matters most. But even when you look at the roster outside of those players, they also have a guy in Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Christian Braun, who's really been coming on as of late, Peyton Watson, another guy who's really coming on as of late, Reggie Jackson's a valuable piece, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a valuable piece, Justin Holiday, another valuable guy, DeAndre Jordan. There's just a lot of different players on this roster that fill a role. Obviously, you have the stars at the top, but of course, to win an NBA championship, you need more than that. And it's pretty clear when you look around this Nuggets roster, they definitely have enough pieces to win an NBA championship from top to bottom. But the next thing that I look at besides talent is chemistry. And when you look at this Nuggets team, I think it's pretty clear that they probably have one of the best chemistries in the entire NBA. Because obviously when you have Nikola Jokic on your team, he's going to get guys easy looks. But in order for guys to get open, in order to get the ball from Jokic, they have to move freely, and they have to have a good chemistry and a good understanding of where everybody's going to be out there in the court. And I think the fact that everybody has a great camaraderie out there, and the fact that everybody understands what they need to do out there is a huge reason for why we're seeing the ball move freely offensively, and a huge reason for why guys are getting open looks all the time. And that goes for both offensively and defensively. Guys just know where everybody's going to be and what everybody's strengths and weaknesses are out there, and that makes a huge difference at the end of the day. But the last thing that I look for in a championship team is coaching, because of course you can have great talent, of course you can have great chemistry, but at the end of the day, if your X's and O's aren't right, it's going to be very difficult to win playoff games, and of course it's going to be extremely difficult to win an NBA championship. But when you look at how the Nuggets were playing not only this season, but really ever since Mike Malone got there, it's pretty clear that he's been doing a phenomenal job. It seemed like over the last couple seasons, the Nuggets were always in the mix. Of course, they didn't win a championship until last season, but regardless of that fact, the Nuggets were always in the mix. And in my opinion, when you talk about a team that's consistently successful, it comes down to coaching. So I definitely do think Mike Malone has done a phenomenal job with the Nuggets for some time now, and especially when you look at how they're playing this season, Mike Malone is once again doing a great job at that head coaching spot. So in my opinion, when you look at the three criteria, whether you talk about talent, whether you talk about chemistry, or whether you talk about coaching, I think the Nuggets check off all three of those boxes. So with all that being said, I do think the answer to the question of this video is yes. I do think the Nuggets have a very real chance at repeating as NBA champs once again. Now, although I do think it's very realistic that the Nuggets do repeat as champs, with all that being said, I don't think that means that there's no difficult matchups for the Nuggets in both the Eastern Conference, but more importantly in the West. Because when you look in the West, there's a lot of great teams. Of course, the Minnesota Timberwolves have been playing great so far this season. They have Anthony Edwards, they have Karl Anthony Towns, they have a nice roster to complement those two main guys. Of course, besides them, you have the OKC Thunder, who are of course very young and inexperienced. At the end of the day, they do have a ton of talent on the roster and they're playing great. The LA Clippers are also playing really well. They have a ton of talent on their roster. The Dallas Mavericks are even playing great as of late, and of course they also have a ton of talent. So basically the point that I'm trying to make is there's a lot of very dangerous matchups for the Nuggets in the West. Now, with all that being said, I think I would consider the Nuggets, at least at this point, to be the favorite in any of those matchups that I mentioned, but of course they are matchups that are very winnable to a lot of those teams that I mentioned. Now, besides teams in the West, I think the most likely team to make it out of the Eastern Conference, at least at this point, has to be the Boston Celtics. And when you talk about a potential finals matchup between Denver and Boston, of course that's going to be a very hard-fought matchup. Because when you look at the Celtics, they're one of those rare teams that are very prolific, both offensively and defensively. Because when you look at the offensive side, they have a lot of talent. Of course, they have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday. They have a lot of other guys on the roster to complement those guys very nicely, and overall there's just a lot of different guys to go to. So if one guy's on the bench, they have another guy to pick up the slack, and in my opinion, due to the fact that they have so many different offensive threats on their roster, that's a huge reason for why they've been able to be so successful offensively. But of course, a lot of those guys I mentioned are also very prolific defensively as well, and I just think the Celtics are a nightmare to a lot of different teams in the Eastern Conference and of course in the Western Conference as well, if they do make it to the NBA Finals. So overall, I do think the Nuggets are in a very good position at this point. I think they have a really good amount of talent on the roster. They have great chemistry, they have great coaching, and I think they have all the makings in order to win another NBA championship this season. But I guess only time will tell what does end up happening. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think the Nuggets have a real chance to repeat as champs, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these two videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out, guys.